From New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja, coming up in the next 30 minutes. India mourns the passing away of former Prime Minister and face of 1991 economic reforms, Dr. Manmohan Singh. 7-day state mourning announced. South Korea's parliament impeaches acting President Han Duck-soo, escalating the political crisis in the country. And Israel strikes Houthi targets in Yemen, including at the Sana'a International Airport, killing 6 people. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel will continue its mission until it is complete. India mourns the demise of former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, who passed away on Thursday night. President Draupadi Murmu led the nation in paying tribute to the former Prime Minister. She arrived at Dr. Singh's residence at 3 Motilal Nehru Marg and paid her respectful homage to the former Prime Minister. Vice President of India Jagdeep Dhankar also reached Dr. Manmohan Singh's residence to pay his tribute to the former Prime Minister. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also paid his last respects to the former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh at his residence of 3 Motilal Nehru Marg in the national capital. In a post on X, the Prime Minister said, "India will forever remember Dr. Manmohan Singh's contribution to our nation." Other leaders, including Home Minister Amit Shah, along with the Union Minister and National President of Bharatiya Janata Party, JP Nadda, paid their respects to the departing soul at his residence in New Delhi. Earlier, in a social media post on X, Prime Minister Narendra Modi shared photographs of his meetings with Dr. Singh. The Prime Minister wrote on X, and I quote, "India mourns the loss of one of its most distinguished leaders, Dr. Manmohan Singh ji. Rising from humble origins, he rose to become a respected economist. He served in various government positions as well, including as Finance Minister, leaving a strong imprint on our economic policy over the years. His interventions in Parliament were also insightful. As our Prime Minister, he made extensive efforts to improve people's lives." In his condolence message on the demise of former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, Prime Minister Narendra Modi talked about his inspirational life and the contributions he made to the country's progress.
प्रधानमंत्री डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह जी के निधन ने हम सभी के हृदय को गहरी पीड़ा पहुंचाई है। उनका जाना एक राष्ट्र के रूप में भी हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ी क्षति है। विभाजन के उस दौर में बहुत कुछ खोकर भारत आना और यहाँ जीवन के हर क्षेत्र में उपलब्धियां हासिल करना ये सामान्य बात नहीं है। अभावों और संघर्षों से ऊपर उठकर कैसे ऊंचाइयों को हासिल किया जा सकता है, उनका जीवन ये सीख भावी पीढ़ी को देता रहेगा। उन्होंने अलग अलग स्तर पर भारत सरकार में अनेक सेवाएं दी। एक चुनौतीपूर्ण समय में उन्होंने रिजर्व बैंक के गवर्नर की भूमिका निभाई। पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री भारत रत्न श्री पीवी नरसिम्हा राव जी की सरकार के वित्त मंत्री रहते हुए उन्होंने वित्तीय संकट से घिरे देश को एक नई अर्थव्यवस्था के मार्ग पर प्रशस्त किया। प्रधानमंत्री के रूप में देश के विकास में और प्रगति में उनके योगदान को हमेशा याद किया जाएगा।
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has always held high regard for former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. Prime Minister's speech in Rajya Sabha in February this year stands out as an example. It was when the upper house met to pay gratitude to the members who were retiring, a list that also included Dr. Singh. He recalled how Dr. Singh, despite health challenges, came to cost his vote, setting an inspiring example of responsibility.
जिस प्रकार से उन्होंने अपने जीवन को कंडक्ट किया होता है, जिस प्रकार की प्रतिभा के दर्शन उन्होंने अपने कार्यकाल में कराए होते हैं, उसका हमने एक गाइडिंग लाइट के रूप में सीखने के लिए प्रयास करना चाहिए। मुझे याद है उस सदन के अंदर लास्ट कुछ दिनों में एक वोटिंग का अवसर था। विषय तो मैं छूट गया मेरा, लेकिन पता था कि विजय ट्रेजरी बैंक की होने वाली है। अंतर भी बहुत था, लेकिन डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह जी व्हील चेयर में आए, वोट किया। एक सांसद अपने दायित्व के लिए कितना सजग है उसका वो उदाहरण है, वो प्रेरक उदाहरण था। इतना ही नहीं, मैं देख रहा था कभी कमिटी के चुनाव हुए, कमिटी मेंबर्स के, वो व्हीलचेयर में वोट देने आए। सवाल ये नहीं है कि वो किसको ताकत देने के लिए आए थे, मैं मानता हूं वो लोकतंत्र को ताकत देने आए थे।
Meanwhile, the Union Cabinet, chaired by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, passed a condolence resolution in the memory of Dr. Manmohan Singh, the former Prime Minister. The Cabinet paid homage to Dr. Manmohan Singh by observing a 2-minute silence. A 7-day state mourning has been declared till January 1st, 2025. During the mourning period, the national flag will fly half-mast throughout the country. The national flag will also fly half-mast in all the Indian missions and high commissions abroad till 1st of January 2025. Dr. Manmohan Singh will be accorded a state funeral. On the day of the state funeral, a half-day holiday will be declared in all the central government offices and CPSUs. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge mourned the loss of a lifelong senior colleague in Dr. Singh. In a post on X, he wrote that with the passing of the former Prime Minister, India lost a visionary statesman, a leader of unimpeachable integrity, and an economist of unparalleled stature. The leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, also reached the former Prime Minister's residence to pay his tributes. Congress MPs Sonia and Priyanka Gandhi were also in attendance. Condolences have also poured in from across the globe following the demise of Dr. Manmohan Singh. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken offered his condolences to the former Indian Prime Minister, calling him one of the greatest champions of the US-India strategic partnership. Leaders from countries including Afghanistan, Maldives, Russia and Canada expressed deep grief over Dr. Singh's passing, highlighting the contributions and warm relations with their nations. China's Foreign Ministry on Friday expressed condolences over the passing of former Indian Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, saying he had made positive contributions to India-China relations.
As a senior statesman and renowned economist in India, Mr. Singh has made positive contributions to the development of China-India relations. During his tenure as Prime Minister, China and India announced the establishment of a strategic cooperative partnership for peace and prosperity and reached an agreement on the political guiding principles for the settlement of the border issue. China expresses deep condolences on his death and sincere condolences to the Indian government and people as well as the family of Mr. Singh.
Indian banks' profitability continues to rise. According to a report by India's central bank, the Reserve Bank of India, the bank's profitability rose for the sixth consecutive year in 2023-24 and it continues to rise in 2024-25 with a return on assets at 1.4% and return on equity at 14.6%. Asset quality improved with the gross non-performing asset ratio falling to its lowest in 13 years at 2.7% at end March 2024 and 2.5% at end September 2024. RBI said that the capital position of banks remained satisfactory as reflected in key parameters like leverage ratio and capital to risk weighted assets ratio. The net bad loans of banks fell to 0.57% of total loans at September end from 0.62% at end March, driven by stronger loan loss buffers. The asset quality of non-bank finance companies also improved further in 2023-24 amid a sustained double-digit balance sheet growth. The net profit of the scheduled commercial banks increased by 32.8% to 3,49,603 crore rupees during the last fiscal. After the long Christmas break and heading towards the new year, Germany is taking stock looking at its battered economy. And while there is some optimism that the once powerful economic engine of Europe will navigate out of its crisis, it seems some problems are more stubborn than they hoped for. Lars Holte is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin now on the story. Lars, what are those latest issues plaguing the economic outlook?
Thanks for having me. Well, it's got to do with energy again, and that's no big surprise. Energy prices have been high in Germany for a while now. Obviously, this all started with Russia's invasion and war in Ukraine. Germany, as we've often discussed in the past, used to get almost all of its gas from Russia. And when that supply dried up due to sanctions over the war, Germany found itself without the amount of energy that is needed by much of the country's industry. And while Germany has started importing LNG, and even though the country has been building up its renewable energy sector, prices have remained high. And here's the news. A new report by one of the top German economic institutes warns that these stubbornly high prices will likely lead some major companies to relocate and move business to other countries with lower energy prices. Now, it's unlikely, of course, that steel plants or some other mega users relocate, of course, but there are enough companies in the metal, industrial and chemical sector that have already started moving at least parts of their business, and that is a major concern.
And Lars, what can be done to stop this trend?
Well, the word of the week is Wirtschaftswende, an economic 180. That is what experts are demanding from a new government as soon as it is in place. And that means for many, the snap elections scheduled for late February can't come soon enough. Economists are saying the government has to help the country's industry lower or subsidize energy prices, strengthen the energy infrastructure across Germany. Also, they say more has to happen in terms of digitalization. And that, by the way, is also tied to the problems I just mentioned, because aside from steel and chemicals and heavy industry, another sector with a huge demand for electricity is actually the tech sector. IT, server or data centers are really expensive to keep up in Germany, and that needs to change too. We're way behind in the digital world, and making it harder to install more servers is certainly hindering Germany's efforts to get out of the current crisis. So we'll have to get these elections done and hope that a new government gets on to business fast.
Okay, thank you, Lars. Now, still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Finland investigates the cause of damage to undersea power cables in the Baltic Sea. In cricket, India lose quick wickets in opening session of first innings on day 2 after bowling Australia out for 474. And Indian Space Research Organisation will launch its SPIDX mission on 30th December.
(2024), the year the world woke up to climate's harsh realities and powerful progress. Let's explore the stories that shaped the year 2024. The Amazon, the parts of the North America burned brighter than ever this year. With wildfire and catastrophic weather on the rise, are we prepared for what's next? India's energy transition is inspiring the world. As we wrap up, it's clear that 2024 has been a year of immense climate challenges, but also of remarkable progress.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I am Tanvi Taneja. On to the South Korean politics. Well, the South Korean parliament impeached the acting president Han Duck-soo on Friday as the country struggles to shake off political turmoil sparked by his predecessor's martial law declaration that shocked the world. Han Duck-soo took over as acting president from President Yoon Suk-yeol, who was suspended following a parliamentary vote over his move to impose martial law on December 3rd. However, opposition MPs demanded that Han, who is also the Prime Minister, be removed from office as well, arguing that he had refused demands to complete Yoon's impeachment process and to bring him to justice. Counting for the impeachment was delayed as ruling People's Power Party lawmakers protested in Parliament after Speaker Wu said that only a simple majority was needed in the 300-member Parliament to proceed with the impeachment. PPP lawmakers began chanting angrily and many rushed towards Wu, demanding that he resign. They did not take part in the vote. It became the second impeachment of a South Korean head of state in just 2 weeks, adding to the turmoil of the country's dynamic political landscape. Meanwhile, South Korea's acting president Choi Sang-mok said on Friday that the government has ordered the military to step up vigilance, raising the possibility that North Korea could take advantage of South's political situation to carry out acts of provocation. Now, amid all this, pro and anti-Yoon groups rallied outside South Korea's Constitutional Court on Friday as it held its first hearing on President Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment. Supporters of the impeachment called for his arrest, while opponents demanded his reinstatement. The proceedings follow a parliamentary vote earlier this month over Yoon's brief decision to declare martial law. The court has 180 days to decide whether to overturn the impeachment or remove him permanently from office. The lawyer representing South Korea's embattled President Yoon Suk-yeol said that the suspended leader plans to appear in court in person for an impeachment trial.
Yoon Suk-yeol will attend the impeachment trial by himself and speak. We reviewed each regulation, but the court's attempts to send documents cannot be considered as illegal. More people are joining legal team and many people are applying, so the team will be finalized soon.
On to West Asia now. In the latest escalation in the conflict, Israel struck multiple targets linked to Houthis in Yemen, including the Sana'a International Airport, leaving at least 6 people dead. In addition to striking the airport, the Israeli military said that it also targeted military infrastructure at ports on Yemen's west coast and 2 power stations. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to continue its mission until it was complete. Defense Minister Katz added that Israel will continue attacking Houthis to remove threats to the state of Israel.
We have just seen a precise operation by the Israeli Air Force hitting specific Houthi targets in Yemen at the airport, at the port. As we said, whoever hurts Israel, we will hurt him. We will hunt down all the Houthi leaders, hit them as we have done elsewhere. No one will be able to escape Israel's long measure. We will attack them in order to remove threats to the state of Israel.
Israel's retaliatory strikes come as Houthis have repeatedly attacked the country with drones and missiles since the start of the Israel-Hamas conflict in Gaza. Now on to Europe. Finnish President Alexander Stubb announced on Friday that authorities are investigating the cause of damage to the undersea power cables in the Baltic Sea. Finland seized a Russian oil ship, the Eagle S, suspected of damaging the Escalation 2 power cable and 4 internet lines. Stubb emphasized the need for vigilance to protect critical infrastructure.
Finnish government and Finnish authorities have been dealing with an incident in the Baltic Sea whereby 4 cables have been broken. We were able to get the situation under control and locate the ship in question, bring it to Finnish waters and begin a criminal proceeding. There have been substantial damage through the cables.
Estonian Justice Minister Liisa Pakosta called for updates to centuries-old maritime law to address damage to undersea infrastructure like cables and pipelines. This comes after a ship carrying Russian oil was suspected of damaging an undersea power cable between Finland and Estonia, along with 4 internet lines.
We are interested in to push international maritime community to change or to modernize the international maritime law. And the second process is that together with like-minded countries, together with our allies, we interpret the existing international law in the same way.
The Indian Space Research Organisation will launch its SpaceX mission on 30th of December. SpaceX is a cost-effective technology demonstrator mission for the demonstration of its in-space docking using 2 small spacecraft launched by the PSLV. The SpaceX mission aims to develop key in-space docking technology for India's future space station. It involves 2 220 kg satellites, SDX-01 Chaser and SDX-02 the Target, which will perform docking maneuvers in low Earth orbit at an altitude of 470 kilometers. The much-anticipated 16th CEC Cup, the ice hockey tournament, has kicked off in India's hilly town of Kargil on Friday. The opening ceremony witnessed an impressive gathering of sport enthusiasts, local dignitaries and community members. The tournament, which aims to promote winter sports and foster local talent, has garnered immense enthusiasm from players and spectators alike. This year, the tournament features 38 teams from Kargil district, including 32 boys teams and 6 girls teams, marking a significant representation of youth in the region's sporting activities. And in cricket, India suffered a disastrous run-out and Scott Boland took 2 wickets to leave the visitors in a major trouble on day 2 of the 4th test against Australia. India were 164 runs for the loss of 5 wickets at stumps, trailing by 310 runs. Rishabh Pant was not out at 6 and Ravindra Jadeja on 4 as 3 wickets in the final half hour halted India's momentum. Scott Boland and skipper Pat Cummins grabbed 2 wickets each while Yashasvi Jaiswal was run out. Earlier, Australia put up a daunting first innings score of 474 runs on the back of Steve Smith's century. Smith recorded his 34th Test century on the way to 140 at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. And Indian women's cricket team defeated West Indies by 5 wickets to win the third one-day international match in Vadodara on Friday and clinched the series 3-0. Batting first, West Indies got off to a disastrous start as pacer Renuka Singh got rid of both the openers in the first over of the match. The visitors managed to reach the modest total of 162 due to the 102-run partnership between C. Henry and Shimene Kempbele. Deepti Sharma grabbed 6 wickets for 31 runs. In the chase, India also lost opener Smriti Mandhana and Harleen Deol cheaply, but Jemima Rodriguez and Deepti Sharma put on a gritty 50-run stand. To stifle hopes for a West Indies comeback, India have won the first 2 one-day matches earlier. That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on our social media handles at DD India Live, and you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja. From all of us here in New Delhi, thank you for watching. Namaskar.